is packed with information for you. We have a great day today because we finally got some sales closed, and we're up to 123 sales a day, and that is awesome. We listed 106 homes yesterday, which is awesome. And of the 106 that were listed, 78 were single family and 32 were 400,000 and under, which is really good. That's what we want. And but there must be some expireds and solds that are going on, because 590, the availability of those homes 400 and under for actives has dropped to 593. We were up to, I think, 650 at one time, maybe October-ish. Yeah, so it's slowly been going down. A lot of it is because people don't want to, disrupt their home during the holidays. So we take that into consideration as well. The big news is, of course, that the median price jumped up to 421,000. Good news, bad news for people who are looking to sell their home. Well, it's probably going to appraise for more. They're probably going to get more equity out of it, and they can buy more homes. So you have to realize that, yes, it prices some people out of the market, but it also puts people in the market. And I think sometimes we don't think of both sides of that fence. 26 days of inventory, that's been hovering around there. Nothing new there. We have almost $4.5 million homes being sold every day. There's 475 available. Let me see. Yeah, that's up from 445. So people have been listing those $1 million homes, which that's really super. And you notice, of course, I've added high rises to our valley statistics. And the high rises, we've got 264 high rises available, which is really cool. And I bring that up because in the $1 million stats, I have added the high rises too. Now there's not that many of them that are in the market, but just to be totally accurate, I added them. Last year we were selling 141 homes a day. This year we're selling 123 now. And I think that number may go up a little bit. We'll see. Today's Friday. It's a closing day. So we'll see. Let's see. 45 people, non-owner occupieds, buying homes. And Jimmy and I had the class. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm more on schedule today. Thank goodness. It feels good. Good to see you. What I'm going to attempt to get done. Hi, Frank. Hi, Frank. Good morning, Frank. Good morning. Good morning. I have your book for you, by the way, at the office. Or if you want me to mail it to you, just text me your address, and then Kimberly will get it out to you. And what I'm talking about is I gave away 10 books. 10 books. Gary Vee's new book, 12 and a half. 12 and a half is the name of the book. Anyway, so yes, I'll get that out to you, Frank, or you come by and pick it up. So what I want to talk to you about today is I'm here but can't hear you. I'm here. So Frank, can you hear me? Frank, can you hear me? Hi, Frank. Can you hear me? Somebody else tell me if it's me or Frank. Can you hear me? Somebody tell me, please. Can you hear me, Frank? Debbie, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So I think it might be your situation, Karen. Might be Karen. Okay. So Jimmy Dega's here. Thank goodness. Hello.
What time is on time? 9:06?
Sorry. You're good. Now, I just wanted you to know that 9:20 was not a new time.
Yeah.
It was just that I was making dog food and playing with the construction people and all that kind of stuff. So Jimmy, the stats have gone up a little bit. We're selling 123 a day. So we've had some closings the past 2 days that have, increased that. So, but I told him the good news is, the median price is 421, and I just wanted your take on this. So 421,000 is the median price right now based on November on this year's sales. So there's good news and bad news. Yes, it prices some people out of the market, but it also puts people into the market because now they have more equity, and and we know people move. So, so that really might put more people into the market too, because they're going to take that equity and buy something. What are your
Well,
thoughts?
here's my thoughts. Remember, Sheila, the lending lady, showed us the demographics from Barry Habib, and she said, based on birth rates, and there's a really well-known demographer that a guy turned me on to, and what he says is the birth rate over the last few years, 30 to 32 or 3 years later, they buy houses. And so that's part of what's pushing the market. And that's not going to change no matter what the prices are. If they want a house, they're going to find a way to buy it as long as interest rates stay low. That's my take. As long as interest rates stay low, I don't think the price is the issue.
I think I agree with you. I agree with you. So, Jimmy, we mentioned Remind in the class the other day. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a strategy. It was a strategy for farming and picking out different categories of farms.
Yeah. So what I did, let's see if I can get this. I want to show everybody. I don't know if you've tried to use Remind, but I'm going to show you a screenshot. So I'm going to go there and see. Let's see. I always get a little nervous when I do this. I'm going to hide you, Jimmy,
okay.
And I'm going to hide myself and talk about this. Okay. Okay, here I am. Can you hear me now? Okay, so I may have to do it this way. Nope, this way. Okay, so Jimmy, I know. Hey, I've only been using this for 700 times. All right, let me know if you can see the screen, and do you see that this is Remind? Can you see, Jimmy? Okay. So what I did is there's filters over here, and I took the mortgage rate, for instance. And the mortgage rate, I said, okay, give me all the properties that have a mortgage rate of a mortgage that's 15 to 20 years. And I used the mortgage rate of, let's see, it's not showing, but let's see. Mortgage rate. Okay, here I used 4.5 to 6 and 6. All right, and so it's showing me that there's 80 homes that possibly are going to want to move. Yes, I did a zip code. You can do a drawing, but I did a zip code of 89135 because that's where John farms. And so then you can download. Now at a certain point, you have to pay for these, but I think you can have 2,000 contacts that you can download. Once you download 2,000, they charge you, and I don't know how much they charge you, but I'm sure it's not that much. But I can get all this information. And if you look down here, can you see my cursor moving? Okay, so it has a lot of information here, what the equity in the home is, the sell score. They'll even give you a sell score, all types of things that you can go in there and really call these people and say, look, your mortgage rate is 4.5 to 6%. Are you interested possibly in reducing the interest rate, or would you be interested in selling this year? Do you have any thoughts of changing residences in 2022? But this is a gold mine here. And because we talked about it in class and I didn't have time to show it to people, I wanted to show it today. It's really easy to navigate too. So, and the board provides that for free. So I just figured it out. Yeah, it's not that hard. It really isn't.
Real estate agents, but if you can figure it out with a little effort, then they should be able to figure it out now too.
Yeah, really. And I think it's a great tool. It's a great tool. And then, of course, I always talk about Vulcan 7, which you can do. You can go in and give it an address and see if there's an email and a phone number associated with that address.
Well,
because that's
in our 3-hour business planning class, the thing that shocked me the most that you said was the Remind has cell phone numbers in there.
yes. Yeah.
And so what about the
If they
do not
have
call?
it. But just to caveat that, Jimmy,
Okay.
Remind is not as good as Vulcan 7 or been verified. Those two really dig deep. Now, some title companies will, I think they'll charge you so much for the phone numbers and the email addresses because they're using these same applications that I've talked about. But you
Right.
can get them for yourself too.
Yeah.
And even as a broker, I mean, I tell people I'm a broker. Okay, I bought the Vulcan 7. I can get 1,000 new contacts every month. Does anybody want a particular subdivision? I'll go get it for you. No hands went up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know what do you think about that, but that's what's happening. People aren't taking advantage of the tools for some reason. Now, I'm going to segue so we can watch this. Tom Ferry is giving us 4 actions to do for 2022. 4, and I call them tips. So we're gonna listen to him. It's really good.
Before you go to that,
yes.
I have a question. You had us watch a clip from one of his interviews that he did, and he talked about a lady in Louisiana that did 300 transactions. He called her Miss Lily or something like that, from a wheelchair. She's in a wheelchair. She did 300 deals. Do you remember this?
Yes.
So I reached out to one of the Tom Ferry coaches that I know personally. That's a really nice guy. I said, I need some information on this lady that did 300 deals from a wheelchair. So he's trying to find it for me. And if I can find that, I'll get it to you because that inspires me.
Well, on this particular podcast, he talks about, I think her name is Irma. And Irma's in California. She's 83.6 years old. And
I love it. That's awesome.
It is. Yeah. So we're going to watch that, this podcast. He's giving us 4 tips to do before, or to think about before 2022. So I'm just going to get on my own Facebook just to make sure that when I play it, people can hear it. Okay, let's go. I don't know why I'm always nervous, Nellie.
Welcome back to the show. I was thinking about what sucks about sales. What sucks about sales is we all love immediacy. We all love quick cause and effect. And yet, the most natural thing in the universe is plant a seed today. And months later, you have a vegetable garden. And what we know about sales is generating a new prospect, a new client, building a new relationship today, but it could be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now, 18 months from now, 7 years from now, before you actually generate the income from that new relationship. And that sounds horrible, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's cause and effect. It's generate, convert, generate, convert, generate, convert. The challenge is the timing, right? We generate today. And I forever talked about 90-day cycles, that I would meet somebody today. And the question was, is this person a 1 90-day cycle away from transacting, a 2 90-day cycle away from transacting, 3, 4, 5, 6? Like, how far out was this prospect? How far out was this person from being prepared to make a decision? Now, you might be asking, like, all right, Tom, like I've been in sales for a long time. Like, what are you thinking about? Well, what's going through my mind is kind of twofold. First, it's been a frothy last 21 months in the real estate business. More income earned than certainly I've seen in my 31 years of doing this. Like, more people making $1 million a year, $100,000 a year, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Looking for my phone here, one of my clients who's at, like, he and his team, small team, $22 million in gross commission income. Like, an absolutely bananas time to be in this business. And I know, as I've said it to you before, tragedy and triumph over the last 20 months, right? 21 months. It's been hard. And in the real estate business, it's been bonkers, right? But here's the question. So if it is this simple cause and effect world, right? Plant a seed today, get a veggie garden in 90 days, right? 120 days. It's, making a phone call today and meeting somebody new at an open house or a digital lead or getting a referral, whatever it may be. Like, be honest with yourself. How far out is it on average? Is it one 90-day cycle? Is it two 90-day cycles? Is it three 90-day cycles? I was talking to one of my personal clients, big shout out to DJ and Lindsay down in Jacksonville, Florida. So we know, for example, like with their Zillow leads, it's 72 days from the time we meet a client to the time we put them under contract. Like that's the average. So that would be a little less than one 90-day cycle as an example. Now, the real reason I'm bringing all this up is not to just talk about like, cause and effect and planting seeds and all that stuff. What I really want to ask you is this, like if I was sitting down with you one-on-one right now, I want to know this from you. Can you tell me who your first 10 sales are in 2022? Did you like that long strategic pause? Can you actually answer the question for me? Can you tell me right now, can you open up your CRM, open up your Google Docs, look at your leads and say, oh yeah, okay, so I got this couple that said they want to do something early in January. I got this person that wants to buy an investment property in January. I got this person. Can you actually tell me who your first 10 sales are in 2022? And if the answer is no, boy, am I glad you're listening. And if the answer is yes, and you're running a team and you're like, I don't know if all my own people know, or if you're just like, yeah, Tom, like just tell me, what do I have to do? The note I wrote down for you is, if I can't open up my CRM or open up my Google Docs and actually know what my future success is, like it should be a major warning for you. It should be a major wake up call because, like the end of the year really means nothing in sales. It's really the end of a tax cycle. If you really think about it, like who cares if it's December 31st or January 1st or February 1st or April 19th? It doesn't really make a difference. So if you're so busy trying to close out the year to win an award or close out the year to feel complete about your goal, I get all that. But understand this. We live in a game of top of funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. And if you're not constantly adding more top of the funnel opportunities, nurturing the middle of the funnel opportunities, you're not going to have those most immediate opportunities to actually help somebody buy and sell real estate, help somebody do a loan, help somebody do a transaction so you can get paid. So here's the note I wrote down. Again, I really hope you're getting this. Do you actually know who your first 10 sales are in 2022? So I wrote down for you 4 things I'd ask you to consider. 4 things. Like if you said, I don't really know, or I've got some level of certainty. I don't know about 10, Tom, but I know 2 or 3. There's 4 things I'd ask you to do if you were my client. The number one thing I'd say to you is, can you go back through as long as the last 2 years, maybe even all the way to the beginning of 2019, can you pull up for me how many appointments you went on in the last 10 months, 11 months, in the last, 20 plus months, in the last, 34 months? Can you pull up and say, here's all the appointments I went on. Here's all the buyer consultations I went on. Here's all the showing appointments I went on, right? With a client, right? Maybe you didn't do a buyer consultation. Here's the listing appointments I went on. But these are all the appointments that I didn't convert. These are all the people that either they chose somebody else or they chose not to take action. They're that buyer that's sitting on the fence. It's those people. And what I wrote down is, what are you going to do to activate them? See, the first most important thing is take the people you've already connected with that already have a level of know, like, and trust with you and ask yourself, what could I do to reactivate these people? And maybe it's because I'm prepping for my Chris Voss interview coming up next week on my podcast or the following week. If you don't know who Chris Voss is, you should absolutely Google him today or pick up his book, Never Split the Difference. This will be the second time I've had him on my podcast. And I was just reflecting on some of the work we did in our first podcast and his book. And one of the things I love is he says, so many salespeople are always trying to get the yes, the yes that close, the 21 yeses, the blah, blah, blah. And he says, I like the opposite approach. I actually want the definitive no. I want the hard no. And he said, people don't expect the no. They expect the yes. They know they're being sold in that moment. So in honor of Chris Voss, I wrote down, if I was going to reactivate a bunch of people that I had booked appointments with, met with, they decided not to do anything, lease, buy, invest, whatever it may be, what's a good no question I could ask them to reactivate them? So the no question I wrote down, you may want to jot it down, is, hey, are you guys out of the real estate market for 2022? Are you guys out of the real estate market for 2022? No. Yes, we're out. Like we've decided to definitively, we're passing. No, we're not. Right? You could just literally put that in an email subject line. You could literally send that person in a video text. Ian, Tom Ferry, following up, haven't talked to you in several months. Just wanted to ask you as I'm preparing for, 2022, are you guys out of the real estate market for 2022? Just do me a favor. Will you just text me yes or no? Yes or no. And you know what? I love it. No, we're definitely we're still looking. We're frustrated. We feel like we've missed. And just like that, you've reactivated some opportunities that just might be one of your sales, right? Your first 10 transactions in 2022. Does that make sense? So that's the first thing. The second thing I wrote down is you should go back and review all of your lead sources, right? All the different, so when I say lead sources, you immediately say my database. Remember, your database is really, it's like 6 different cohorts, right? It's your sphere who hasn't transacted with you that could refer you or do a deal. It's your past clients who have transacted with you, but maybe haven't referred you in a while, or maybe they could do a deal. That's like 4 right there. It's your agent to agent relationships. And it's just those people you have in your database. You have no idea who Larry is, 310-555-1212, right? It's all of those people, your database. Another one could be open houses, which yes, open houses are back and more people are doing them. And it feels almost normal. And I love it. It could be, hey, I've been running these digital ads. I was doing Facebook ads. I was doing Google Logo Services ads. All these different sources, these ways that you were putting yourself out there to say, hey, I'm here to serve. I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to help solve your problems. All those different sources. The note I have is review your sources and get honest about where did the vast majority of transactions come from over the last, 20, 21 months, and then stop and ask yourself, if that's the low-hanging fruit, what can I do to engage with them again? What can I do to tap them on the shoulder, to remind them that I'm here, and to remind them that if they or someone they know is interested in doing something, like I'm your gal, I'm your guy. It reminds me of, we were talking about sort of off camera before we shot this podcast, was the great Chuck Daly. So a lot of people remember Chuck Daly from the Dream Team. He was the coach with Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson, and that extraordinary cast of characters. But prior to that, he was the coach of the Detroit Pistons, the bad boys, right? Specifically Joe Dumars and the Dennis Rodman, that crew. And I was super lucky to have lunch with him one day. He spoke at one of our conferences. And I remember turning to him and just kind of saying when you were coaching the bad boys, it was pretty obvious, defensively, you guys were going to be the toughest crew in town. And back then, any old NBA fans, you know what I'm talking about. Punching people was normal, scratching people was normal, fights and all that kind of stuff. Certainly not the modern day NBA with these players that are making $50 million. Don't even touch me, right? But back then, it was pretty obvious. But what I didn't understand, and I've always loved the game, was how did you get this crew to be so effective offensively? And he was like, Tom, it was real simple. He said, when I took over the team, they already had the defensive prowess. That was obvious, right? They had that just internal drive to be dominant on that end. What I did, and this was documented later in a book he put out, which was basically, I walked up to every one of the guys and said, what's your automatic shot? Now that's a question you should write down. What's my automatic shot? If I had to get a piece of business, what do you do? What's the play you run that would generate an appointment, a hotter lead, an opportunity for you? What's the thing that you do that you know works, right? So he said, I just asked all the guys, all right, here's what I want you to do. Here's some blue tape, and I want you to put it on the location where you are most comfortable. Think about this, Ian. Where are you most comfortable to make the shot? So John Sally had to be just under the basket, right? Joe Dumars could be hit it from the 3 or from the elbow, right? Everybody had their shot. And he said, my job as a coach is to try and facilitate getting you the ball in your shot. And if you get it and you're in your spot, make the damn shot. So what am I saying to you here? I started by asking you, do you understand the cause and effect of our business? The plant a seed today, get paid in the future. And I know you do. And you're like, but why are you reminding me now? Because it's almost the end of the year. And a whole lot of people are going to be stopping doing what we know works. And if you can't answer the question, where are my first 10 transactions coming from in 2022? The Grim Reaper is already standing above you with that scythe. What have we said? What's it called, Brian? Scythe? Am I saying that right? And I could just picture like, the big black, cave. Ho, 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 ho. Oh, that sounded like Jabba the Hutt. But you know what I'm saying? Like literally standing over you like, you're going to die, salesperson, because you're not filling your pipeline. You don't know who your first 10 transactions are. And just like that, like rest in peace, you're dead. That's why I'm bringing this up. So the first one. Who did I go on an appointment with that didn't convert? How do I reactivate them? Get them to say, no, I'm still in the market. Great, let's meet. Number 2, what lead sources worked? Is it open houses? Was it referrals? Was it, agent to agent referrals? Was it, you going out into your community? Was it doing drop-bys to friends and family? Was it calling past clients in Sphere? Was it circle dialing? I don't care what it was. You better know what plays you run that work, because you need to start doing them again right now, as we sit here in November, December, whenever you're listening to this. That's number 2. It's finding your automatic shot and then running that play over and over again. The number 3 is obvious. Like, what marketing generated the most results for you? Like, what was the video that you shot that really caught people's attention? Like, think about that. What was the letter that you sent? I was talking to my client Maxine Gallons the other day. And on a coaching session, Maxine is 83.6 years old. That's what she told me. I'm 83.6. She's at $6.4 million in gross commission income, $290 million. I don't want to misquote that. Closed and pending. Having just a banner, unbelievable year. Her and her daughter and the whole team. Everybody listening, that if you're on the team, like Kate, Mark, like all of them, just killing it. Amy, everybody. And yet what's interesting is we're talking about what was the tipping point moment of this transaction that got you a listing that you double-ended, but the person that bought it needed to sell their house and you double-ended. And the person that bought that, you double-ended again. It was like 6 in a row and they were all north of $10 million. Like, this is a lot of volume. And she's like, well, I sent that letter, right, to the street with this offer. And I'm thinking to myself, even as her coach, I wanted to punch myself in the face. I'm like, well, when was the last time we sent that letter? Oh, we haven't sent that letter in a while. I'm like, firing myself as the coach. All right, we need to send that letter again, right? Maxine, if you're listening, I'm just reminding you, we need to send that letter again. My point to you is this. If you don't know who your first 10 sales are, and you're not reactivating people you've already met with that said, maybe not at this time, if you're not looking at the lead sources that have worked for you, right? I don't care what it is. I light and do smoke signals, right? Like whatever it is, whatever worked, you better be doing a lot of it right now. The third part is what marketing worked. What was the video that really caught fire? What was the letter that you sent? What was the phone call that you make? What was the one-on-one individual scaled text messages or videos that you sent that activated people to say yes to you? We got to get back to that. And then the third thing I wrote down, or the fourth thing, is if right now, I don't care when you're listening. If you're in the US, maybe it's like the week of Thanksgiving or it's the week after Thanksgiving. If you're my friends in Canada, it's just the last week in November. It's the first week of December, whatever. Whenever you're listening to this, understand this. If you don't have time in your schedule that says appointment setting time, that says lead nurturing time, that says follow-up, that says prospecting, that says something that you're now doing the activity. You're now doing the work, shooting the videos, making the phone calls, sending the emails, doing the text message, doing all that stuff, everything you know. If it's not in your schedule, again, it is like the Grim Reaper is just standing above you saying, come to me, because you're dead. Like the business is over. I've already shared with you the numbers nationally. 40% of all agents in the US have not closed a transaction in the last 12 months. And the top 25% are doing 73.5% of all the volume and therefore all the commission. I wonder if those men and women in those teams have a pretty good idea of who their next 10 sales are. The answer is, of course they do. Of course they do. I think about so many of my personal clients and so many of our coaching clients around the world that you're listening to this, you're like, yes, my coach and I, we talk about this every week. It's something that we discuss it once a month. We go to the whiteboard and we're like, okay, I got to follow up on Ian. I got to follow up on Brian. I got to follow up on Tom and Kathy. Like it's so normal for them. And then you wonder why they succeed at the level that they do. See, they understand keep planting, keep planting, keep planting, seed, 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 seed. And then 3 months later, 6 months later, 9 months later, 1 90-day cycle, 2 90-day cycles, 3 90-day cycles, flowers, buds, vegetables, transactions, money, results. Like that's the way it works. So I wanted to just send you this message as a friendly reminder that if you don't know who your first 10 sales are in 2022, there's 4 actions you can take. Or you can just take no action and just know that the Grim Reaper is smiling, because the real estate business or the sales business that you're in, you're already dead, my friend. And I don't say that with any other intention than to wake your ass up and say, get to work. Have an awesome day. Thanks for listening to the show.
So, hold on. Gotta get rid of him. Okay. You can talk now.
You're echoing.
Am I echoing now?
No, just it sounds like you're in a tunnel.
Oh, okay.
But we can hear you. It's good.
Okay. So what did you think of that?
I think that Tom Ferry is nipping at the heels of my favorite trainer. Brian Buffini's my favorite, and he was my favorite by far for many years. But Tom Ferry has really closed the gap, man. The podcast he's putting out, the content he's putting out, the agents that he talks to. I mean, what an inspiration. Maxine Gellens, 83.6 years old, 6.4 million in commissions.
Right.
I know Aaron Taylor is a great guy. I love him. I think he's wonderful. But if he hits his goal, he'll do about 5 million in commissions.
Yes.
This lady did 6. So he's got people that are above him that can inspire him and that he can inspire too. And he's got a great goal. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the guy. He's achieving a level I've never even come close to. But when you hear about these people that are doing this kind of business, dang.
Well, and he's saying, did you write down the percentage?
Yes. 75.3% of the business is done by 25% of the agents. Yes, I wrote it down. I did.
Yes. And so when you look at our MLS, 16,000 people are real estate agents. I mean, 4,000 people are doing all the business.
Yeah. Well, and you show me how to pull those numbers up. You can only pull them up as a broker. But when you and I look at that, what I look at is the top 100, and of those 100, and really I should look at the top 165 because that would be the top 1% of agents. The top 165 agents, how many transactions did they do? And I'm going to do that research over the weekend, and I'll share it with you on Monday or whenever I get it done.
It'll be a fun exercise.
Yeah.
I mean, when I get into those numbers, it just baffles my mind. And I see that our landscape is changing. We have more teams, okay, like Aaron Taylor, George Caprios, they're posting the big numbers. And I am looking forward to the MLS, our LVR, separating those things like Remax used to do. Here's the team transactions, but here's the individual transactions, so that the people on the team get credit, for what they're doing as well, because it skews our numbers, our ability to really decipher who's doing what.
Yeah.
So that's my only suggestion to the LVR is to do that. And Remax figured that out years and years ago. So at awards, the teams would get the awards, and then even if you, like John would get the team award, but he'd also get the individual award. And so would other people, so those people that aren't on a team, they get an award as well. So, and it's all about the numbers. And the gal she's 83.6 years old. What an inspiration that is for John.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me too.
And it's never too late.
Yeah.
We were having a discussion this week about, if for some reason I jumped back into the real estate business, we'd be making 5 times the money we're making now. Because I believe, and I'm like you, I am really leaning with Tom Ferry, and I do a lot of his stuff because he is communicating with the agents on a one-on-one basis and his coaches. And he's got the show that he does with his coaches that relate, to relate about their specific agents that they're coaching. So it's more, to me, more relevant when I hear, the 83.6-year-old woman, or the woman in a wheelchair in Louisiana that sits in her office and just says, it's time to list and sell your house that I sold you 20 years ago, Jimmy, and that's how she does her business.
Yeah, she says, come meet me at the office. Come to the office.
Yeah, exactly. So when you hear things like that, it's, to me, Tom Ferry's, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of with you. He is really, really getting down to the nitty gritty and the relevant things that we need to hear, because he's on top of the market, because he's in the market.
Well, let me say two things. Number one, I want to thank you for having Kane do those pictures. You can thank Kane. I think the pictures turned out really good. At least, and I got them. I captured them. So, and I needed them. Thank you. That's not my favorite, just so you know. I feel like I'm getting after somebody. You little snicker, I wait till I get a hold of you. But the second thing is, the reason I like Buffini so much is because he's balanced. He talks about spiritual, family, business. He doesn't just go one business thing.
Right.
And that's what I like about you. I'm going to pay you a compliment. You listen to Tom Ferry, but you also have a Facebook coach from Australia or somewhere. I mean, and then you have Gary Vee. I mean, you'll bring him out. You balance your diet in a way. I have a poster in my living room. If you ever come to my house, there's a poster as you walk right in the door, and it's this elephant standing on this beach ball, and it says the key to life is balance. I think the key to life is love. But if there's more than one keys, balance would be second one for me. Love is first, balance is second. And you are so balanced. When you had Gary Vee on the show the other day, that was inspiring. Today was inspiring. These things just really, I can't believe there's not 1,000 people listening to your show. I can't believe it. They should be listening to your show. And I only get here, once a week, twice a week on average. But man, I always go away energized and inspired and with strategies. I mean, I have, this is my note. I took a whole page of notes just for this one thing. And that's only half of it. I got them on the other side too. I'm writing as fast as I can. Yeah. And I'll go watch the show again. You'll post it on your group and I'll go watch it again and catch up things I didn't catch the first time. But here's the hope. I will do something with it. That's the point. I'll do something with it.
Execute.
Action. Yeah. Execute.
Action.
Yeah.
And that's what he said. He was giving us 4 action steps today. And he did. And they kind of intertwine with each other a little bit, but it's still planting seeds.
Yes. That was a very, very good way to make that point. Very memorable, very impacting, just a great illustration. What a great storyteller he is. He's getting up there. He's biting at the heels of Buffini.
Well, I can tell you that Buffini coaching right now, like John's agent is taking it. It's $500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Ferry is $14,000 a year. It's over $1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's $1,200 a month. Yeah. And
I think I checked his net worth. It's 15, 20 million. He's focused on that.
I have no doubt that Buffini is worth a lot more than Tom Ferry.
He is.
And Buffini started with $100.
Yes.
He started with less than $100. He came to this country, gets in a wreck, whatever. But Buffini invested in real estate. He bought commercial real estate. He bought houses. He bought a bunch of real estate, and that's where he got his wealth. It wasn't necessarily from his coaching company.
Right.
He was balanced. He did work and he did investment and he saved. I mean, he talks about his saving. Him and his wife, they put a certain percentage of check in every month. Automatic savings. Just the guy lived the principles that he learned as he went along. He executed on the principles.
Yes. And I love listening to both of them.
Yeah.
I love listening to both of them. I love that Buffini has really put things in a system. More so than Tom Ferry. And I'm a systems girl. Saves you time, energy, saves you sanity, time, energy, and money.
Yeah.
Tom Ferry's more of a shotgun guy, but I love it. I love both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a balanced diet, fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Yes. And you have a contracts class coming up on Monday from 2 to 5. Disclosures, understand them, ? And it's a great class. I tell everybody, you just wrote it this year. It's relevant. And they have to have 2 contracts classes this year, this 2 years. So you might as well jump on the bandwagon now and take a class that's relevant to today's market. That's what I love about your classes, and that's what I market to. That you're on the point. You know what's going on.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What's up with you today?
I'm doing office hours today, and I'm buttoning up. Today's closure day. Today is for me to close up as many circles as I can so I can go in the weekend without any stress. Monday's CEO day. Tuesday is TED Talk day. Wednesday is reading day. Friday is close the buttons, close the circles. That's what I'm doing today.
Well, you're pretty balanced.
Thank you.
Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for being on the show twice this week.
Great show.
People hang out when you're on. They love hearing just the conversation, not just one person talking.
I thank you.
And you're my favorite. You're my best.
I'll see you soon.
So, okay. Bye, everybody. We love you.